What's going on, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot fam? Welcome back to the channel. I was going to clear the elephant out of the room here. Chris, where have you been? It's been like 2 months and you haven't posted anything. Been a pretty good reason for that. So, last ride we went to Iron Mountain. We got a little rough on a trail. We were going pretty fast. I hit a rut or like a washout or something, and it jerked the steering wheel out my hand, and next thing I knew we was in a tree. So that went bad pretty fast, like literally within like 2 seconds of hitting the berm we were in a tree. So I broke my hand. Nice little photo right here for you. And it took me a while to heal from that, so I've been really unable to do much. Additionally, I also hurt my shoulder, which is still hurt, and we'll see how that goes. But in terms of damage to the machine, it really wasn't that bad, honestly. I managed to hit right here on this B pillar, which I have fully custom doors, and I have had a different set of tree kickers, and they took pretty much all the force. Now that's not to say that there wasn't some other damage, which I'm still going to clean this stuff up. This is freshly done, but we had to re-weld this tab and the tab at the bottom, and it pushed this in a lot on the bottom frame rail. So we stretched that or straightened that back out, etc. And we built new trick kickers for it because the other one got completely bananaed. Like I'll put a picture up. Unfortunately, I don't really have a picture of the actual damage during, like, after the hit, because I just took it straight to his house and dropped it off. But the tension on the tree kicker was, like, there was so much tension on it from the bend that when Jeremy cut it, it separated like 5 or 6 inches. Like, that's insane. So straighten everything back out, got new kickers. These are a little lower profile, reinforced to hopefully help spread out some of the load if I ever do something stupid like that again. Hopefully not. And then we'll see how it goes. But you can see it hit pretty hard. Now granted, I've most of this is from a rock at Windrock, but the tree hit literally right here. So that didn't feel too good, and it's taken me a while to get my hand back to where I can actually, like, use it normally. But as I said in the last garage video, I am going to try to get back into doing my gear reduction, and I got some goodies in these boxes here, which that'll probably be the next video. But I do want to go ahead and get this transmission out of here and go and get the gear reduction done, because I've had the part sitting on the shelf for like 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. It's time to do it. Anyway, so I'm gonna start getting stuff tore apart, and you guys can join me for the journey. I'm not gonna. So I did the teardown video on the Pro XP in one of the previous videos, showing the gear reduction, stuff like that. So I'm not gonna show you the entire process of taking everything out. Completely pointless. It's exactly the same. The only difference is some of my stuff is colored yellow instead of gray or purple or whatever colors it was. Pretty much everything the same. I take the skid plate off as well, which mine's already off because we had to do some framework, and I'll kind of pick back up as I start to pull the transmission out and show you the differences between the Turbo R transmission and the Pro XP transmission. That way you guys can see the differences. And I'm doing a different type of reduction, so I'll go over those differences too. So fast forward like 4 or 5 hours.
Tomorrow for sure.
Just like that. It's technically it's more than 24 hours later, but you know, life. So got the transmission out, everything tore apart. You'll also notice some other pieces missing. That's on purpose. Everything's broken down, and I have the case halves on the other side of the machine over there. I cleaned them out yesterday, so they're just drying out. But here's where the fun starts. I'm doing a 13-13-34 gear reduction. So in case I didn't specify that before, this is the high gear from the Pro XP, and then an additional 12, 13%, you know, however the math works out, overall reduction, because I have 37-inch tires, and while it does do really well, like the last videos from Iron Mountain, I'm on the 37s, like it does really well. I just want a little bit more of that reduction, because I don't want to be burning belts if I get hung up on some rocks at Windrock or something. So, sit you guys down just a second. Here's a wonderful box from Crash City, and I've had this thing for a while, plus that stuff for a while. Boys, I'm already running their clutch kit, so I'm familiar with Steven and Amber. Sorry, I had to move the camera. Alright, so new input shaft. This is basically the bread and butter of the high gear swap, because this is the Pro XP input shaft. So it allows us to swap the gear, because it has let's say the high gear is built onto it, so you have to swap the shaft to get the different gear. And oh, there it is. I know I had a That's the gear that sits on the shaft. Your stage 1 shaft, and it goes just like gears. This is the new actual high gear, so I'm going to replace that. And then also got the bearing retainer plate and the high gear shim delete. If you're getting into your transmission, you might as well go and do this stuff. It's a good insurance policy. But we don't need that till later. Alright, now another part of this build that I mean, technically you can buy it as a kit from Crash City, but I already had it because when I did my gear reduction on my 1K, it had the 13% stage 3 in it already, and I actually went to 19% stage 3 for Pro UTV, and so I have this laying around, and it's the same thing, so I'm gonna use it. In case you're wondering, the stock gear set is I think it's 2743, and then this one's 2748. So let's see if that's enough to grab. Yeah. That worked out. To give a little persuasion. Old gear. New gear. See a little bit of dirt between them. Old bearing retainer. New bearing retainer. Yeah, you can very clearly see the size difference. Anyway. Alright. Don't know if I have a socket for that. Probably the trailer. I'll have one here for that. Anyway, tap this down. Like I said in the previous video, most everything in this transmission is slip fit. It's not like super hard pressed on. So it ain't that damn difficult to get stuff put back on. All right. Boop. Spacer. There's the gear. Yeah. It is a spacer. Fucking knew it. And that's not. Now the hard part. Getting this guy off. Alright, I had to get a different tool. So we're back. I've already put it together. This is just a cheap. It's called a large bearing puller. It's meant for when you can't get your teeth on to the bearing because, you know, clearance issues or whatever. Thing to keep in mind with this one, your input shaft is threaded on the inside, so this will go inside of that, which would be very bad and would mess up your threads. So get you a piece of flat stock or something, stick that bad boy in there, give it something to bite onto that won't won't hurt your input shaft threads. Alright. Set this aside for now in case I need it again. I think I think the input shaft ones are the only ones you need to use that kind of bearing puller on. Like I have another smaller puller which works for I think about the 80% of them, and then the bigger one I have works for like the other 10 to 15%, and then I think no, I take that back. For this one, you need it for this too. I forgot about that. So this is the snorkel gear basically. This is what drives your front or four-wheel drive. Sorry. So you'll need it for this bearing too. But there she is. That's the old input shaft. New, old. Start pouring down rain. We'll set this on the side. We don't need that no more. Fun fact: some of the bearings in this transmission are Japanese, some are Chinese. I probably should have bought a bearing kit. Alright, now the other side is basically just reassembling the other side of the gears and stuff. Just make a socket that'll fit over it. Alright. Oh my god, my hand's so slippery. Cool. And the bearing. Too big. Bar is 19 for a second. Alright, so next thing we gotta do is get the high gear off here. Or technically goes like this, but plug in high gear, and then this shift dog will go here. I don't think it matters which way it goes, but yeah. snap ring, washer, gear. So this gear will go in its place. Be real careful with this roller bearing. You don't want it to explode. Another snap ring. And this guy. Now, if you notice, different locations for the notches. And this one should be the same. Roller bearing, your gear, and then when this is up, that's what locks high gear, and then when it's down, that's what locks neutral. So this shim still, okay, so that shim still goes in. And then this is a snap ring delete. So this goes here. And you got to make sure that you still have this washer. If you don't still have this washer, then you're going to have too much slack and this gear can move. So you gotta make sure you have that washer in there. And then what happens is now instead of a snap ring holding us on here, which these apparently fail all the time, now you get straight contact with the bearing, which holds it in. And see if you have it spaced right, that high gear don't move. That's what you want. Alright, so next, we need to move this stuff to this shaft because we need this smaller gear. So we'll start with this bottom bearing. Snap ring, washer, and a gear. This is too short, pretty sure. Swap over the big boy here. Okay. gear. And another bearing, which this one, pretty sure it's too small to get this on here. The reason I like these kinds of pullers over the other one is because it's just way faster to use. They don't require completely disassembling the thing to use it, which sucks. That won't grab. Too easy. There's that. So you can visibly see one is bigger than the other. So smaller gear, bigger reduction. That's the new one. We'll go ahead and throw this guy back on. And that's that. Now on the side by side, those two gears made together. And that's that stage 3 gear reduction. So, just to give you an idea. All right, I'm gonna get set back up over here so I can put everything back together. Welcome back. First thing you're supposed to do when you put this thing back together, snorkel gear. However, I have a bolt that I left in here just to keep. Granted, I don't know why I do this, because when you set the backlash on this big nut right here, it's hard to move, and the long bolt in your retaining plate is what locks in that lash. And once it's good, unless you change one of the two pieces, you don't typically need to mess with it again. And so just for like, just I don't know, I guess to feel good about it, I put the bolt back in just to make sure it don't move on accident or stuff, but it's hard to move. So, I mean, you may not have to do that. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the old one. Alright, so the kit for the retainer plate comes with new bolts. And the reason for that is with the thicker retainer plate, you want to maintain the same amount of grab on the bolt. And you can see just a little bit taller to make up the difference. All right, first things first, drop our snorkel gear back in here. She should slide right in. Then you gotta spin this guy around to get it orchestrated correctly. This is where the fun starts. As with most things, I suggest starting them by hand. All right, so these torque to 10 pound-feet. And obviously you want to try to hold this thing. Alrighty. Next thing you should drop in is the snorkel, or the final drop. The next piece is these three gears, your input shaft, your stage 1, stage 2, and the stage 3 gear sets. These kind of got to go in together, but kind of don't. It really just depends on how your transmission decides to play nice with you today. last but not least is this little idler gear. It's really more of a balancer, I guess. It stops these two from deflecting off each other. Man. Set this. And then this. That one. If everything's set back down correctly, this should still be in high gear. Alright. And before you button everything back up, I recommend running through the gears. So it should be in high. That should be low, which is I know you can't really tell from here, but let's just say if you're in low, it should be moving a lot slower. And it is. It's moving like a third. Okay. Okay, that's high. That's low. Neutral. Reverse. And park. Right back to the gears. Get it back in high. Once you've ran through the gears and verify everything still works, pop it apart.
The next day.
Alright, welcome back. Transmission's done. It's sat overnight. It's cured up. Time to throw it back in the machine. Not going to show every single bit of this. Once again, got a video on how to do all this start to finish if you want to see it. But alright, so got most everything buttoned back up. Only thing left over here is put the clutches back on, primary, secondary, torque everything, put the shock mount back on. And then what I'm going to do is take this primary apart and one, clean it, but two, I'm going to put a little bit more weight in the arms, and not a lot. I think I have one washer to go on the heel or toe, just to get a little bit more weight, because I'm doing a gear reduction, so just want a little bit more weight on it. But I'm gonna take this apart and we'll see how it goes. This bolt is alright. That'll go. Fuel. Okay. Got it. Alright, so my understanding, turn it over here. So my understanding is the red bolt is the heaviest bolt, and then you have, I think it's 6 of the big washers and then a bunch of the smaller washers. So really the only thing I can do is drop the little washers and go to 2 big washers. And that gains me, I don't know, an ounce, but that's really it. That's all you can do. That's it. 3 reds and 3 big washers. That's as heavy as that kit gets. Now I'm sure you could get a longer bolt, and I think you could safely put 1 or 2 more small washers on there if you really need more weight. But I think this will be plenty. It already does incredibly well, even with the 37s. So with the gear reduction, I think it'll be perfect. Working with small bolts, I gotta use my fingers. Cut the top of my finger off just in case one. And this bolt don't have to be crazy torqued down. It's meant to move. That shit's about out. Yeah, I got some wisdom. You don't have to tap up. This can tap up. I'm not going crazy with the Loctite, just a little bit. Literally just a little bit. I need to get a smaller spacer. Alrighty. Just like seated. That ain't that much torque ratio, like maybe 15, 20 foot-pounds. I want to say the torque spec on this is pretty low, like 15, 18 foot-pounds. So. Alright, pretty much it for that. Alright, clean this bitch out. Woo! Woo! Much better. Hey, what's going on, guys? So obviously I forgot to make an actual outro for these videos because some of them were kind of running together, but just want to say thanks for tuning in. Transmission, hopefully you learned a little bit on the gear reduction on the Turbo R. I do have another video, like I said, that has the full breakdown of how to pull the transmission, how to put it back in, all the torque specs, everything for putting it back together. And if you guys need that, I'll have a link to it below. Maybe even a card in the corner. I forgot how they're weird about it now. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. You know, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We got merch if you want anything. And I appreciate you guys' support. You know, y'all have a good time, and hopefully see you at a ride sometime. Y'all take care.